Okay, go.
Hey, this is Brian Sachetta from Get Out of Your Head, and you're listening to Vroom, Vroom, Veer with Jeff Smith. I'm reminding you that you can tame your own mind and find relief from anxiety and depression.
Well done, sir. Thank you very much. And
I did
only one
throw,
take, so that's good.
I did throw, I'm reminding you in there. If you want me to
No, no,
redo
no,
that, I can redo
no.
that.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Let me hit
Cool.
stop. I'll be right back. See, I told you
Okay.
I'd say it.
Are you ready to thoughtfully steer away from your revved up, frenzied, and far too often scripted life? Then welcome to Vroom Vroom Veer with Jeff Smith, where he guides you down the road differently traveled by sharing unique experiences with guests who have managed to shift away from a life stuck on cruise control and veered their way into a more authentic and fulfilling one in all sorts of interesting and kind of remarkable ways. Get ready to Vroom Vroom Veer with your differently traveled road chauffeur, Jeff Smith.
Melville, thank you so much for being on Vroom Vroom Veer, and welcome to the show. How's it going?
It's going good. Just trying to stay cool with these summer heats coming in.
Right. In that bus. In the heat.
in the desert.
Lovely. So you are at healthyrelationships.info. So talk a little bit about what you're most excited about in your business today.
Well, so, I mean, I'm just excited about having the chance and the opportunity to try and help people. My main goal in all of this and starting this is just to see everybody have a healthy relationship. And I have this like utopian vision of what the world could look like if we were all in healthy relationships, feeling fulfilled, satisfied, and just our full, complete selves. Like, what would the world look like? We wouldn't have all of this strife, this anxiety,
Right.
this,
totally.
And so that's become my mission. And I really want to always be clear about what a healthy relationship is. A lot of us think, oh, healthy relationship means we never argue, we never have disagreements. And it's like,
Right.
no.
No.
And I can be attest to that. I'm in a healthy relationship now, and we still have arguments. We still have differing opinions. And
right.
And it's funny,
people.
I read. Yeah, exactly. And I read this book recently, The 7 Principles of a Happy Marriage. No, it's John Gottman, Dr. John Gottman. He's big into relationships, but he talks about this idea that there's never going to be, like, there are going to be some arguments or some conflicts that are just never going to be solved.
Right.
You're just never going to see eye to eye. But if you let those things like deteriorate the relationship, that's where it's a problem. So that's what I'm always promoting. Like, healthy relationship doesn't mean you guys don't argue, and doesn't mean there's going to be conflicts that are solvable all the time. But it's just a place where you feel yourself, you feel safe, you feel like you're limitless. And that's how I feel. And I mean, right now I am focusing mainly on those who have suffered from a toxic relationship, because that's what I dealt with, and how to come out of that, how to heal from that, how to become yourself again after losing yourself in something like that, and then not have this tinted view of the world and what relationships are, because you're coming from pain and suffering.
Right.
So that's my goal, is to really,
you kind of thing.
Exactly. Your scars do not create your identity. Now, they can be a stepping stone, which is what I've transformed my previous trauma into, is a stepping stone into my best self, my most authentic self, who still cries, still has triggers, still has healing to do, but just feeling happy and actually even grateful for those lessons I'm still learning, grateful for those moments that I'm still crying, because it just shows you. And I'm reading this book right now. It's called The Radiant Life Project by Kate King. And basically that if you don't understand the depth of sadness, of grief, then you'll never understand the depth of joy, of happiness.
Right.
So this is what I'm about. This is my business. This is what I want to help anybody with. And, just because you haven't been in a toxic relationship or don't define it as a toxic relationship doesn't mean there's not things that you would like to work on so that you can be in healthy relationships.
Right.
So if you're struggling with anything, hey, I'm an ear to listen. I am not somebody who's going to judge you, because I've been there. I make
Right.
those mistakes still.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm excited about. And it's really in line with who I am as a person, and my purpose is just to help and have all of us have healthy relationships.
It sounds like you're lit up here. You're kind of like a little bit turned on fire kind of thing. I don't want to use the word
See,
turned on because that people get the wrong idea, but you know what I mean.
Right. But that's how you know. And actually, so I've read a book called, sorry, I'm always going to tell you about the books I read because
Okay, that's
it's
fine.
just like my favorite thing.
You're eating
But
books.
I
Your
read
brain is eating books.
exactly, seriously,
I get it.
seriously. And it goes back to the comment we said earlier of like the panic I feel that I'm only going to be able to read about 20 to 30 books a year, and
That's
if
not
I'm
enough.
only here for it's not enough time. There's not enough time for all the books I want to read.
You're going to start doing audiobooks at like 10x speed pretty soon.
I can't do audiobooks. I know I would love to, but I can't do audiobooks because they'll say something and I'll be like, God, that is so profound.
Right.
How does that reflect my
and then you
own
miss
life?
a whole
And then,
chapter. Right.
and I'm like, God, I gotta go back. And then they say the same thing, and I'm like, yeah, again, wow.
That's the part of that's the part of reading that people like don't get, that people don't read. It's you're not
Right.
actually reading to know what the person said necessarily, but to make you think new things. Right. I never thought
Right.
of that. I never thought of that. And then you sit there and think about it. Totally.
Right,
Yes,
right.
I get it.
Well,
Yeah.
and that's
I
the
don't
same
like
thing too. Like,
audiobooks either unless it's something that's very passive. Like fiction, fine, right? Like on a long car drive, it used to be like on CDs or God forbid
or
cassette.
tapes. Yeah, cassette tapes.
Right.
I don't think
that's
cars
okay.
even have
But not
cassette
something
tapes
like
anymore.
that I'm trying to learn from, right? Like a book that I
Mhm.
want to learn from. You're right. I want it to be like, it doesn't necessarily need to be a physical book. Kindle works, but
Oh, see, I love a good physical book. For me, the pages. I also
Yeah.
love to doggy ear the little
you don't
pages,
have to worry
especially because
about like batteries running out.
But anyway, so what I was talking about is I read this book called Flow, and the author is a Hungarian author, and so his
Flow.
last.
Oh, everybody knows Flow. Yeah.
Oh, do they? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But he talks about how to get into flow is to get into this state where you feel passionate so much that it just drives you, and that's what healthy relationships, this
Should feel
business
like.
does for
Okay.
me. It just gets me in this, like, I'm like, please tell me about your relationships and how we can make them better.
Yeah.
Tell me all of it. Give me all of
This
it.
is what I want to do. This is my
Yeah.
Yes, I get it.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I'm not working right now. I'm enjoying.
Right. Totally. So, okay. So you weren't always this. So let's go back in time and talk about Heather, not Herman, Melville, when you were, say, like in high school.
Geez, totally different person, like 180. And it's funny, like, I mean, the friends that I've had since high school have seen me transform, but
Right.
like if they were to look at the picture I was then, I was very self-conscious, very naive.
Sure.
I still had some, I can say I had some seedlings of who I have become now: strong, happy with myself, authentic, and
Okay.
very weird. I'm a silly, weird person. I am
Right.
definitely a kid at heart.
Right.
And I will give an example, like here in Arizona, they have what are called splash pads because it gets so hot here
Yeah.
that they have like little mini water parks for kids. Now, I never stray away from that. I'm going to go run through it. Even though I don't have a kid of my own yet, I'm going to go run through
Good for
that
you.
because I want to.
So I don't think
So,
I could
yeah,
get away
I'm-
with that. They would call the perv police if I tried that.
Yeah, and it's the fun line for men who don't have kids, and that's where the blessing of being a woman, they just think, oh, that's sweet.
That's right.
She must really like kids and want to have kids. But yeah, I've always been a kid at heart, and I have always kind of clinged to that because I feel like it keeps me young. But going through high school, I used to want to be an actor, which is surprising that
Okay.
I was not confident in myself, that I was very insecure. But here I want to go into one of the most like detrimental to your identity industries,
Right.
and so I just had these ideas of, because I grew up watching old movies, Katharine Hepburn, Cary Grant.
Wow.
Loved all of that. Loved the musicals. Frank Sinatra is one of my favorites. And so I grew up with all of that, and I wanted to do the
Did you
musicals.
do
I don't
musicals
know.
in high school or not?
I actually ended up. I had to drop out of a musical because it conflicted with softball, and I was
Oh
passionate
wow.
about softball.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I did a lot of plays in high school, just not musicals, unfortunately. And now I've gotten better. Right, I do Zumba weekly, which I love. It gives me
Zumba.
back into
Yeah.
that choreography.
Right.
But when I was in the musical, I would know the choreography, but when I'm in the moment, I forget the next step, and I'm like, dang it. but yeah, very very interesting, and so I wanted to be an actor. I just wanted to perform, and then I went to college to be an actor, and
Interesting.
I
Wow.
had
Good for you.
gosh, one of these most profound moments. It was watching The Glass Menagerie by Tennessee Williams, and it was a black box theater, so that's it was in the round. Actually, no, actually it was three quarters.
Okay.
But that being you had the audience three quarters around the stage. So it's very something about theater to me, and I still love it so much. It's just so real. It's so there. Like watching on a TV screen, it's distanced.
Yeah.
But
Totally.
having it in
Right.
front of you is something so profound. And so when I watched The Glass Menagerie, few underlying moments and themes was about authenticity and about standing up for yourself and believing in yourself. And it just hit me so hard. It was so profound that I realized I want to do this. I want to help others have profound moments, help them have self-reflecting moments that
Wow.
brings them to the better version of themselves.
Right.
I didn't realize that theater was not the way because I ended up having stage fright. And yeah, right. And I actually, and now where I'm at now has helped me to reflect that it wasn't that I had stage fright of being in front of people. It was because I was not being myself. I was portraying an actor. Or not portraying an actor. I was portraying a character.
Relate. Yeah. I can relate.
So it was being in front of people trying to pretend to be something, and everybody knows I'm pretending to be something.
Right.
And they're expecting me to pretend in such a way. So that's what gave me the fright. And this is where I'll jump just quick head to say this, but this career now of healthy relationships, of being a relationship coach, makes me feel like, I do see myself being a speaker because I want to inspire, I want to motivate, I want to reach as many people as possible, but I don't feel any fright or anxiety about that because I'm showing up as me. I'm showing up as Heather. Right. Not Herman, but Heather.
I felt the same way because when I was a kid, like in high school, I did do musicals. I did like 2 musicals, and then I did a play. Like in between graduating and going off to the Air Force, there was this. It was Oklahoma, right? And
no way.
Yeah, well, I had like the smallest named role. I was in the chorus, but
if you're named, that's all that matters. If you're just the chorus, it's different.
I had a line, maybe 2. And the thing is we did I want to say we did quite a few shows. Like it was like more than your standard run. I want to say we did like something like 10 shows maybe. So it was it was like by the end, right? There were like professional level actors doing the leads, like a professional dancer, a professional singer, and then there's me, idiot. I got this one line, right? But I was like, I gotta do something with this line.
Right.
So it was like when Judd died, I was supposed to say, "Is he just stunned?" Right? Is he just stunned? Right? That was my line. But at the end, I like really got. Is he just stunned? I really hammed it up. It was awesome.
Well, and actually it's so funny because everybody thinks, the lead is the best, but some of those sub is the wrong word, but supporting characters. Yeah, they make it what it is. And if you look at, it's funny because I always felt that even in some of the plays when I was in a role where I wasn't the lead, didn't have the most lines, but I had to now be an authority to one of the leads. It was a weird dynamic for me. But if you look But if you look at any of the shows where like this one character has 2 lines, but he's meant to be an authority, it's so interesting how it shapes the rest of the story by him
Right. If he
being
nails
in
it.
that
If
authority.
he nails
Yeah.
it. Yes, that's true.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
in the real world, he's not an authority. I think about that all
Right.
the time.
Yeah, exactly.
But the
exactly.
thing is like there's different versions of that. You know, like whenever the rebel cop goes to talk to his boss, we know who's in charge. It's not the boss.
Right. if we're on set, it's the rebel cop is the main guy, and everybody's catering to him, and the boss is just like a sub guy, you know. Yeah. Who's lucky that he landed this role?
The other thing you said that like I learned that thing about like I was kind of a crappy actor, and I found out why later was because I didn't really get the whole idea of there not being a me now. And like you embodying this character, right? Like I think at the time I was so young, I didn't even know who the hell I was, right? So like I was pretending to be me, like every day. Who am I again? Oh, okay, all right, that's right, that's who I am, right? So
exactly.
To be another person on top of being me at the same time, too much work, right? Anyway, so I get it. I can relate. Yes. Okay. So
well, and then so I
too, right?
Right. Yeah. And I did a little bit. I never actually landed any roles in the plays. And I think I was only for like a semester or 2 that I was a performing major.
Okay.
And then as a performing major, they usually make you try everything, right? You have to be a stagehand. You have to be a lighting technician, a set technician and stuff. I love that idea, costume and stuff. So I learned a lot of different things. I learned how to weld. I learned how to sew. I learned how to paint. I learned all of what. And all the wood tools and stuff. I mean, I took wood.
They had these things. It was like a old timey like a charcoal lighter. So it's just like this electrical thing you plug in, right? And then it was like this loop of like metal that they would run electricity through, and then you'd stick that under the coals and let them get white, right? So that was a thing that I knew what that was. My dad had one, right? But the tech people were using that to make styrofoam look like wood, right? Because it would melt it in the particular shape that kind of made it look like wood. I was like,
gotcha.
That's amazing. I want to play with that.
Right. Well, and like I made a table when I was working there, and so I used what they call a lathe, where you put the piece of wood, it spins, and then you can do like cool things.
I did that.
But right. So I ended up transitioning because I loved lighting. I really gravitated towards lighting. And so I became a lighting designer.
That makes sense because you're very physical too, right?
Yeah.
You're like
and
climbing and monkeying around and dancing.
Yes. And as a lighting person, you do a lot of that. There were some dangerous moments. Well, so one time. Yeah. One time I was, I designed the lights for the show. And of course I was putting them up as well. And the black box is about 20 feet to the grid. And instead of having to come all the way back down the ladder, move it just to see if I'm in the right position, I just held onto the poles and I told my people, hey, just move the ladder. And that is not OSHA safe. Like, don't recommend it. But definitely monkeying for sure. But and it kind of goes back to like I have always thought about being a pyrotechnician as well because I love fireworks.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And I love
like could have been a Mythbuster, I think.
Ooh, interesting. I don't know if I have such a collective knowledge.
Okay.
As much. I mean,
pretty well.
Yeah, I'm a jack of all trades, but master of none.
Yeah, I get
it. But yeah, and so it's funny because now pyrotechnician, because then when I switched to engineering, I wanted to actually be a chemical engineer, and it uses the pyrotechnician because like certain chemicals give off certain colors of light. So, but anyways, I switched to lighting design. I loved it. But, it's kind of one of those careers where like my favorite lighting designer, Jules Fisher, he designed the lights for the movie Burlesque, does so many lighting shows in New York and Broadway and stuff. but their income is limited and their time is limited because you're on each show back to back, and it's just and it didn't seem like. And also, I will say, at that time I was in the toxic relationship where I was financially tied to this person who was wasting my money on alcohol. And, living in a very expensive city. I lived in San Diego at the time. So it was like, shoot, I need to make money to support his habits and to continue living. But this isn't making me money. And it was like, okay, well, I've got to find something else. Also, on top of that, and this is kind of where we're going in with the Vroom Vroom Veer, right? Like, I had people around me, my friends, my family. Well, why can't you get a job? You have a degree. Yeah, but it's a degree in lighting design. Like, everybody and their mom has a degree now, and now they want you. Like, this is the problem with college: is if everybody's going to college now, the standard is we need a little bit more than just a college degree. We need you to be in the specific area, have a degree in the specific area of where we're going, and internships now. So, like, I was getting all of this pressure, and, here I am thinking I'm going in the right direction because I'm doing something that I enjoyed. I loved being in the theater, loved working long nights, except for I would have a, jealous spat between my ex because he's like, where were you? And I'm like, I've been at the theater the whole time. You know where I've been. But so I had to transition. And I thought, okay, this is the right path because everybody thinks engineering is respectable. I'm going to make way more money so I can afford my ex's alcoholism. So I just started vrooming. I started going back to school, going back to school a little bit older. And, but of course it's interesting. Like, my first degree, I did not do well grades wise. I still struggled with so many things with depression and stuff like that. And, so my grade point average from theater was a 2.4. Now my grade, my grade point average for my engineering degree is 3.96, and it's only not a 4.0 because I panicked during my last semester because I took too many credits, and I didn't know if I could handle it, and I didn't want to screw up my GPA. And I ended up, passing with straight A's anyways. But it's so interesting.
It doesn't really matter.
It really doesn't. No. It really doesn't, because nobody really cares about having a 4.0. They want to see what experience you have.
That too. But there's a lot of folks that, like, they'll either want a 4.0 or they remember college and they really didn't like the folks that got a 4.0. So it can cut both ways.
Right. However, when you add the fact that I was now 30 doing engineering school and paying for it myself, there's a different mentality when you go. It's like, I better pass this. I better do the darn best because I can't afford to retake this class.
It makes the motivation is easier when you're If somebody
also,
else
I was smarter.
You're just screwing around.
Right. Exactly. And that goes back to my, thing of, like, I don't really think we should be sending 18-year-olds into an institute where they now start off with mountains of debt to choose some career that they have no idea what it really means. And they don't even know themselves,
Right. Yes, I agree. It's silly.
Yeah. It kind of is. And I'm not saying college is bad, right? There are many people who use it as a tool.
That an 18-year-old knows what they want to do, and can commit to a career choice at 18. That's the silly part, right?
Exactly.
There should be something else, right, to let you explore, right, and figure out how you want to contribute the best way. And then
now, at the same time,
I should be set up to help you figure out what you're really good at.
Except for instead of charging you like $15,000 a semester,
how about we pay them to help you figure out what lights you up? That would be better.
Yeah, exactly.
And then pay somebody else to teach you how to do that.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree. Totally agree. And I'm not saying, I would never take away the experience of being a freshman in college and living away from home for the first time, because there are plenty of lessons to learn there, plenty of experience to be had, but to sit here and decide that, okay, this is what I want my life to be like for the rest of my life.
It's absurd.
Yeah. Well, and now that college is the standard, that to get any type of job that pays above minimum wage, you have to have a degree. Now, when it comes to career change, I have to go back to college.
Right.
If I wanted to become a nurse today, I'd have to go back to college. Well, nursing different, but like if I wanted to be a marketer, well, I've got to go back, get a college degree, or at least do some training. I can't just pivot and start off and do some initial position and work my way up.
Weird.
So that's the trouble with college being the standard is now if I want to have a career change, because at 18 I chose to be an actor and didn't realize that it wasn't going to work out,
Yeah, you don't know.
Yeah.
You're figuring it out as you go. Yeah.
Right. So that's why I loved your idea of Vroom Vroom Veer, in the sense of like, yes, of course, the hustle culture. It's funny, I'm reading this in that book, talks about the hustle culture and how it's so straining, and we feel like we can't rest. We can't just relax and let our nervous system breathe. We have to keep moving. That there's a big, fine line there of doing that. But like this idea of rooming in this direction, going fast in this direction, that's not meant for you, that this isn't your path, this isn't what you want, this is what your parents pushed you in, or society. So now you're going fast in a direction you don't really want to go. That just means you're going further away, that you're going to have to now make that round trip to come back at some point, or you veer. And I have experienced all of that in my life, right? I was veering in the beginning because people are like, an actor, and even my grandpa, who, God bless him, didn't really think what he was saying. He was like, you can't act or sing. You can't sing or dance. It's like, you don't know, Grandpa. You don't know.
Was he right?
But well, I can dance. I have rhythm.
You can dance.
I have rhythm. I can follow steps. Sometimes I forget, but I'm doing better. I think that kind of is just something I need practice with, right?
Yeah.
I think I can sing. I just don't sing fully in front of people, because I have this idea that I sound great. I hear myself, I'm like, God, I sound great, But if somebody doesn't reciprocate that opinion, now does my opinion of myself change? So I choose not to sing fully in front of people.
Yeah,
but man, in the car, can I belt?
I would say, like, I was Little Abner and Little Abner, right? So you don't get to be the lead in a musical if you can't sing, because somebody's going to tell you.
Somebody will tell you.
But
if I prolong that and never sing in front of them, then they will never tell me. So I will always think that I'm a lead singer.
Right. So let's talk about like the relationship that, like, the toxic relationship, maybe like a little bit before, like when you figured out you needed to get out, or maybe like what it was like in it. We already got a flavor of that, just so people can say, like, when did you know you had to get out? That would be like maybe a good starting point.
I still reflect on this, because in trying to help people who have been through this, part of it is, yes, researching, understanding how the brain works, understanding how our emotions work, and how to manipulate and help and maneuver. But I also really try to reflect on my own experience. And one of those things is, how did I get into this?
Right.
How did I get here? It was, how did I get here? How did I choose this? And how did I keep choosing this, knowing things were wrong? So when somebody asked me, when did you know it wasn't right? Well, I'm sitting back here out of it for 7 years, looking back at like, well, gosh, the first time he hit me was when I knew this wasn't right. But why did I stay? Why did I keep going? And this is what I help with my clients is it actually becomes neurological.
Yeah,
you stay because you're used to it. Yeah, you stay because you're used to it. You're used to the chemical releases that happen during those highs and lows.
Right.
So it was probably about, if we really go back, I remember a couple months in, we were really fresh, brand new, and there was a huge blowout a huge argument over me choosing to go do something that he wasn't involved in, that would have been a telltale sign.
Right.
Or perhaps when he showed up a day or two later after no contact, bleeding on my doorstep kind of thing. These small telltale signs of,
Yeah,
this guy seems to get into a lot of trouble.
okay. Right.
But as far as like when I knew, actually, I would say it was probably the second time I experienced physical abuse, because the first time I thought, God, this was a one-time thing. He was just really upset. He was just really drunk. This will never happen again. And I would say it was probably the second time, like, okay, well, the first time I get it, but the second time, like, that means either you have this low opinion of me that you are willing to hurt the person you love apparently the most.
Right.
And so that was probably about a year and a half in. I stayed for 8. Took me 8 years to learn that lesson learn many lessons. Learn the lesson that even though I don't think highly of myself, even though I'm not confident, even though I've been told over and over for 8 years how fat, how unattractive, how unintelligent I am, I still am worthy of healthy love. And it took me a long time to realize that. And it's still an ongoing process on that one, right? Because we sit here, we have these moments where we doubt ourselves, and then we're like, gosh, we're not worthy.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest lesson I focus on when it comes to relationships. And the one thing I say when anybody's having issues in their relationships, if you really go down to the root of it, it's this fear of not being loved. And that comes from feeling like we're not enough or we're not worthy.
Right.
So if you really dive into every argument you have, every issue, it's probably going to come down to an issue of self-worth, not believing that you're worthy of whatever it is, saying your needs, putting boundaries,
Right.
So that was a big lesson for me to learn, and, a lesson of coming back into myself, standing up for myself, and really demanding the basic human respect that we all deserve.
Right.
And I've come to this knowing, and I love to share this, that respect is not earned. You do not earn respect. Respect is a basic human decency that you give to everybody else. What we're confusing here is with admiration. Admiration is earned. To admire somebody, to believe that they are, maybe higher than you, or they have something you want, that's admiration, and that is earned. But if you're expecting respect to be earned, then does that mean that person is disrespecting you the entire time while you're earning it? And if somebody's disrespecting you, are you likely to give them respect back, or are you likely to disrespect them back? And then at what point am I going to be earning this respect when we're both disrespecting each other?
Right.
So,
Well said. Yes. Oh yeah, it is. It's a weird little thing. But like you said, so just so we're clear, so you kind of like stayed after like a second abusive event, like a physical abuse, for 8 years?
More than 2. There was probably, I'd say,
but you knew after the second one that was.
I knew after the second one that, hey, wait a minute.
Right.
But I was still struggling with this idea,
this
like
whole,
this
like psychological thing where like you don't think you have what it takes to leave for some reason.
That's
right.
Or that I would never find somebody else, or that all relationships are like this.
Okay.
It was just a mixed bag of like, is this what all relationships are? Am I going to find anybody else? Because one, I've just been degraded so much of like, I'm not worthy. Nobody's ever going to want me again, kind of thing. And then really feeling like I needed this person to validate myself. And this is what I go back to when it comes to how did I get into this toxic relationship? Because I was seeking validation outside of myself.
Right.
I didn't give it to myself, and I thought a relationship would validate me, finally. And it did help in the sense that I was going through depression. I was on antidepressants. I was hopeless, just hoping for somebody to love me as I was. And
that explains a lot. That explains a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
It left this great open space for somebody to come in who maybe had their own issues, had their own void, had been hurt.
Yep.
and to come in and take advantage and get validation from me. And it was like a back and forth. Now, again, I'm not excusing any of his actions. I'm not excusing any or condoning any of his behaviors, but hurt people.
Right.
Now, I'm not, again, I'm not saying that I deserved it. And I'm not saying that,
statistic.
oh, well,
abusers
he was
were
hurt.
abused. Right.
Yeah.
So he
And
learned that pattern as well.
So I don't know actually how, but I will say he struggled with PTSD. He was over in Iraq. So,
okay.
Again, not an excuse, right?
No.
But
it's a reason.
But
reasons are reasons.
It's an understanding.
Right.
It's an understanding of his behavior, understanding of the patterns that are showing up.
Right.
And so and this is where the healing has come for me, is understanding what were my patterns. I mean, I could sit here and blame him all day. I can drop these terms of narcissist and toxic relationships, gaslighting, all of these great buzzwords, which have purpose. But I think if we go too far and it's like, oh, every relationship was a narcissistic relationship, it negates our own accountability and then puts us in this victim mentality that we just couldn't help it. And that just perpetuates into your next relationship. So I do use those terms lightly, but it does explain some of those behaviors. And it's funny because these words were not out when I was done with the relationship. It wasn't until I started healthy relationships that I started hearing these words more. And I was like, oh, that's what gaslighting is? God, I was gaslighted so much. I'm like a fucking torch,
Right.
So these terms were great to kind of identify the patterns that I saw, but then it became about, okay, how did I show up in the relationship? Oh, I showed up as a people pleaser, like wanting validation and wanting love. So I better please, Well, that's not going to help in the next relationship. And if I just sit here and blame him, then I never change that pattern.
I don't matter. Let's. Yes, I know. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Or the other one, which right. Or the other one that we kind of overlap is codependency, which is actually very similar in the sense that I don't want to focus on me. I want to focus on my trauma because I'm not ready to work through it. So let me focus on you. Let me focus on helping you. Right. Let me be your knight in shining armor because I don't want to be a knight in shining armor to myself.
So what was the moment that made you like pack your shit and get out of there?
Well, and see this is what's tough because like when I get asked this, right? Well, how did you walk away? Because there's so many avenues. So 6 years in, and I'm going to give you the long version of this. That's cool. 6 years in, I was done with all my community college for engineering to transfer to a university. And I was struggling because a lot of universities don't take a second baccalaureate or a post-baccalaureate. So I was struggling to find, but I was like, if I do an internship, they might look at me differently. And at the time, my ex was going for PA school. And he told me, and this is where the shocker was, right? He said, if I get into PA school, I'm going to dip out to Europe for 6 months. And if you want to come with me, you got to figure out your own way there. And I'm like, 6 years in, we live together. The title of my car is on your loan. And you're telling me that you're not going to have me over there with you. You're going to be gone for 6 months gallivanting across Europe. Like, oh, okay. All right. I'll figure it out. And so I did. Wow. I found a German internship that kept me going with the electrical, and I figured out kind of how to fund it a little bit. He didn't get into PA school. And so it's like, okay, well, I'm ready to go. I bought my ticket. I'm going. And that was a big strife, right? There's a lot of arguments there. But I did end up going. We did maintain a relationship, which was kind of a mistake. But I feel in that moment, and this like
empowered you, right?
Exactly. Right. And it broke me away from the environment.
Do this on my
do
own.
Something.
I actually did better than him. I'm more competent than asshole.
Right. Well, And so I also push this too of solo traveling, not just to people healing from a relationship, but everybody, because you find yourself in solo traveling. Because when you step off that airplane and every sign you see is not your native language, and you've got to figure out, how do I get to my hotel? Oh, well, am I hungry right now? Well, I better find a place to eat. Or I don't want to go to that museum. I want to go do this, and it's all on you. And there's this resilience, this courage, this authenticity that's really built through solo traveling. So I think that experience.
That's like number one deal of adulting, right? We're right there.
Yeah.
Like,
it is.
What adults do, right? They don't have someone like wiping their
holding their hand.
Holding their hand.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Here's where you need to go. Here's how you book this. Here's how you this. It's all on
Dinner's
you.
at 5,
and
right.
Right. And I think also that space, and this is what I also talk about too, that when you're in this kind of relationship, you can't see. It's like you've got blinders on. You cannot see these patterns because you're in it. Right. You're in them. And when you get that space, you have that time to come and reflect back.
Right.
And so that whole time I was, coming back to myself, remembering what I really liked, what I liked to do, and saying no to things I didn't really like to do. We did continue the relationship. There was moments of physical abuse when he came and visited me, and lots of strife there. And so I came back to the States. We stayed together. Many more moments of thinking, God, this isn't right, because my whole family hates him and my friends hate him. And, our friends are going away because they realize how much of, toxic this guy is. And so then I got into school in Arizona. We lived in California at the time. So I was going to be moving away. And so we were still together for maybe 6 or 7 months while I was away at school, living separately. And I will share this exact moment. It was up in Flagstaff. It's one of my favorite cities in Arizona. I need to go back there because it's where my heart is. I love to hike. And so, yeah.
Cool,
and I was, yeah. But I was hiking, and I was doing a lot of hiking, and I loved it. But I was hiking, and I had this thought of like, okay, well, 8 years. I mean, what are we doing? If we're together 8 years, the next step is marriage and kids, right? Otherwise, we're wasting each other's time, because there is.
Married. Okay, I didn't know that.
No. So I mean, like that's
okay. Gotcha.
Right. I can't. And we were finally
no kids, no marriage.
Yeah.
So
and we were finally not tied financially.
Shit and leave.
Well, and I was already in another state, right? So this could be like, let me send you a text, block number, goodbye, kind of thing. But it could be. But comes back to feeling like I might not find anybody, but I've already experienced life without him, right? And so I'm hiking, and I'm like, okay, well, dating, right? There's always going to be an objective to dating. People think, oh, I'm just dating. No. You're still trying to find somebody. Even if you don't believe in marriage and kids, there's a point of dating is to find somebody that you want to spend the majority of your time with. Right. So here we are, 8 years. The destination would be marriage and kids for us. And I thought,
no way.
I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that to kids. How could I raise a daughter and be like, hey, this abuse is okay for your mother, not okay for you.
Right.
To hold yourself to higher standards. Or to a son, hey, your mom is okay to receive this abuse, but don't do this to another girl. How could I do that?
That's like magic, right? That's when you think about it from a third person's perspective, right? Then you realize, like, then it's not good for me either, right?
Right. It's when you raise
Veer,
right. Well, and then like it's funny, like I do read a lot of how to raise kids because that is in our future, and I would like to approach this with any subject. I always approach like, let me at least learn a lot. Yeah. Let me get prepared. I may not be able to implement any of it, but at least I have the knowledge. I at least took the step, Right. But I've realized that it's that whole monkey see, monkey do thing. You can't tell your kids to do one thing and then show them an example of something else and expect them not to do it.
By the way, but you in good conscience didn't want to, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And and then the other thought that hit me is like, gosh, I feel so alone in this relationship, so isolated. And here I am alone. And I'd rather be alone than endure this relationship anymore. I'm already alone in the relationship. So why not just be alone and
Right.
not have to have this anymore, not to have this pressure anymore, this
Right,
strain, this issue. So it was those two thoughts that really hit me. And then it also hit me that like he had just attended a family wedding with me where he pissed a lot of people off. Pissed my dad off, and my dad is not one to be pissed off very easily. He has only yelled at me like twice in my life. In the 37 years, he has only yelled at me twice. So for you to get him pissed off, like, and I kept thinking, God, if we got married and they said, does anybody object? I'm pretty sure everybody would stand up. And I'm like, well, this is not going to work,
Wow. Okay. Got it.
So all of these thoughts kind of like, you know what? I gotta go. And I am now starting to realize that I think we don't give credit to how hard it is to end any relationship, let alone a toxic
It's
relationship.
hard for me to
Just
quit
saying
a job that I don't want.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know.
Exactly. And so I think we need to kind of normalize like, hey, it's okay that it's hard for you, but what do you want? And knowing that the life you want, there's gonna be some sacrifice, there's gonna be some challenges to get to that point, because we don't grow in the comfort zone, we grow outside of it.
That's true. Wow, that's quite a story.
Yeah, long story short,
you got out, so congratulations on that. And I can tell now that like the new relationship works.
It does. I mean, I'll tell you what, if you really want to test your relationship, build something together.
Okay.
Like
a bus.
Really build I mean, it doesn't have to be but build something together where you have design choices and like you have to figure something out. And actually
work with them.
What was I just reading? Yeah, I was just reading something. It talks about like those people who maintain marriages and relationships where they're still deeply in love. Part of it is approaching new things and having variety and having new challenges, learning new things and doing new things together, because there's this release. Oh gosh, I think it's the dopamine release that signifies new things with this relationship. So yeah, build something together. See how that works. Live together in 80 square feet and see how well you like each other, or smaller, But yeah, and it really comes down to remembering that they are another person, that they have their own feelings. And it's funny, like my dad has recently asked me this, and I'm, every podcast they ask, oh, you think you'd write a book or something like that? And it's in the back of my mind. I haven't come to fruition yet with it. I haven't really planned it, but it is something I think about. And I would write the book, and it would be called Get Curious. And it's basically everything in our life, every strife, every issue, every conflict can at least be mediated by getting curious. Because what happens is we get stuck in our way. We think we know, we think our way is the only way. But if we get curious, and we'd be like, maybe there is a different perspective that I'm not seeing here, even though I think they're completely wrong and dumb for thinking that, like just get curious. Like where are they coming from?
Phrasing, yes, because that's what I say in my head. I know they're completely stupid for thinking that, but maybe I'm
But why?
But maybe I'm wrong.
Right. But maybe there's a 1% chance I'm wrong here. Let's feed in. But that's what it really is. It's getting curious. Like, why do they feel this way if you're having an argument and they're expressing a feeling? Why are they feeling this way? Is this coming from their own background? Is this coming from actually my own background and how I'm showing up? And it's everything, right? It's getting curious with your loved ones. It's getting curious at work. What could be better here? How could I be the person to make it better? And then really coming down to, I think Wayne Dyer says this quote, it's one of my favorites, is don't underestimate your power to change yourself, and don't overestimate your power to change others.
Right. That's true. Right.
Like the only power you have is to change yourself, whether that's your circumstances, your perspective, your emotions, your thoughts, whatever.
Yes.
your situation,
Even
your
when
energy.
when you're trying to help somebody, right?
Right.
You can't just walk up to people on the street saying, "Look, you're walking funny. Let me help you out."
Yeah, you're doing this all wrong. Let me help you.
Exactly. That's not how it works.
Right. And
But
getting curious.
we all think that, like, out of the box, we think like, if everybody were just me, everything would be awesome.
Or boring. Either way, it would be really boring.
I mean, I say that because I did think that, and it's absurd, and I know that now. But that's what I thought when I was, a kid. It's like, if everybody were just me, everything would be awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they wouldn't be arguing with me, because we'd all have the same perspective, but we'd have no growth. Nothing would change.
True. And that's where we started, off camera. The scary heaven that neither one of us want. That would really suck. Yeah.
Wow.
When you think about
full
heaven,
circle.
Yeah. You know what it reminds me of? Remember that movie WALL-E?
Yeah.
Where with just fat people floating around, they never need to move, and they're slurping their smoothies, and robots are just feeding them.
And they've got the screen. They've got the screen right in their face.
And they want for nothing, and
Right. Sounds gross. Well, and see, I think, and my mantra for life really is balance. Everything is balance. So, because they talk about, well, if you're wanting something, you're actually telling the universe that you're lacking in something. So wanting is meaning that you're lacking, and now the universe is going to give you more of what you don't have, more of you are lacking something. And so there's a difference.
That manifesting program, for sure.
Right. So it comes to,
but it works in weird ways. I'll say that.
It works in the way that you don't attract what you want, you attract who you are. Are you somebody? Okay. Yeah. Are you somebody who has abundance? You think abundance in life. Oh, it's not mine. I won't take credit for that.
Right.
I heard it from Wayne Dyer, who's talked about it in the sense of, I really wish I had known of him when he was alive. Not that I would ever had a chance to meet him, but I just think he and I would get along great.
That
we would laugh together.
I would say amend that, because I shook Deepak Chopra's hand once, and he was kind of a dick.
But see, here's where I
got over it.
Well, here's where I go back to meeting famous people.
Right.
Imagine every single person in their life who approaches them is just like,
Right.
That's why I would never wish fame, and with my business, it's not that I need people to know who I am. It's that I want to be able to reach as many people as possible, because again, you can change the world with small numbers. You don't have to have 1 million people.
Right. 1,000 true fans.
Well, and because if you think of it, we're all ripples. So just our conversation today, I'm going to be boosted. I feel boosted from these kind of conversations.
Me too.
I'm going to go out differently in the world today. Maybe I'm going to say hello to somebody I would have never said hello at the grocery store, or help somebody, and then they're going to spread it. So we're all just ripples, and it doesn't take monumentous actions where you stop over and put water on a burning building. It's small things like saying hello, telling somebody, hey, I see that you exist on this plane as well.
Yeah, I think there's some meme or some sort of zeitgeist going on now.
Yeah.
That and it's been going on for a long time. It's not like a modern thing, because I remember Mr. Rogers in the 70s.
Yeah.
That shit was in black and white, and he was like, "We got to stop teaching."
No. He's always been in color, right?
I'm saying this clip that I'm remembering. I think it may have.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking of.
Maybe not. His show was definitely.
I'm thinking
in color.
of this road.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, time-wise, it was a while ago, right? It was before there was an internet, and he was already saying we're telling kids that they need to be like the president or something, right? And he's like, don't tell kids that. Just tell them that they need to be good, right? And they need to be nice and humble and kind. They don't need to, go to the moon, because not everybody's going to do that, right?
And not everybody wants to. Now, if they want to, just know that
it's fine.
Yeah,
those folks are going to do that anyway, right?
Right.
You don't need, but that's just too much pressure. Right? Like if I'm not an astronaut on the moon, then I'm a failure. No.
Right. This black and white is not going to work well. This extreme thinking.
Yeah, just be a good person, right?
Well, and so this is where that curiosity comes back in, because now what's our definition of good and bad? And this changes across cultures. So if I say something's good, but then over there they're like, that's not good. This is where getting curious of like, okay, well, what do I really mean by good? And what is good really to me?
Right.
And, and then also what's acceptable at the same time, because we are, as much as we want to fight this matrix, this society that we're in, we also have to be a part of it, because we are human beings who need connection, and in order to be connected, we also still need a level of acceptance, right? But again, everything comes in balance.
True. Hey, Heather, we could talk forever, but this has been
I know.
This has been going on for more than an hour. So that's okay. I love it. Like I said, you're like an 8-show kind of guest. So
I'm happy to come back. Happy to come back.
Wait 6 months. Hit me again, and we'll do this again. We'll talk about yoga or something. Yes, yeah.
Oh, don't get me started on yoga. I love it.
Like we could talk about financial independence. We could talk about investing. We could your whole sheet. I was like, yes. This is a show. That's a show. This is a show. That's a show. So you've got like I said, when I said that 8-show thing, I wasn't kidding. It would be easy.
Well, and you know what? That gives me so much, pride in myself a little bit. I was at a small story. I was at a networking event, and I mentioned, oh yeah, I played softball in high school. Oh yeah, and the lady saying, oh yeah, my daughter's in between softball and flag football. I was like, oh, I played flag football too. There was one more thing. It was something to do, and I said, oh yeah, I did that too. And this one lady goes, oh my God, Heather, you've done so much. And then I was like, oh yeah, I have lived. I have lived, man. I have done things, you know?
The thing is like people like you and me, or actually me, anything I do, I assume is boring and easy.
No, it's normal. What everybody does.
Yes, everybody does that. Right. So like, but we discount our own achievements, and like not everybody does that. Right. So like, I'll read things like not spending money and investing it is hard. I did that. Right.
Yeah.
Not everybody does. So
anytime
you do a thing that not everybody does, that's makes you different, Anyway. So.
Well, and even the things you do that everybody does, you would do them differently. And I think that's what we need to we really need to dive into our own uniqueness, but then also remember that we're all connected and we are all the same. We're all here experiencing life with its ups and downs.
Weirdly enough, if you listen to certain people, we are all one thing, which is so weird.
Yes, yes it is. But isn't that so lovely that if we all thought about that every time you hurt, if every time you thought and hurt every time you judge somebody else or hurt somebody else, you're actually hurting yourself. Right. You're actually judging yourself.
Right. That's when you stop. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and then when you feel horrible when you do it and you didn't intend to, right? Like that.
Yeah.
That's me. I mean, like I've gotten there now. It's like,
yeah.
That happened, and I feel awful.
Right, but don't let that go into right.
Yeah, it happens.
But don't let that go into berating. That's the problem we do. Is like it's okay to feel bad about what you did,
right?
Because now you can reflect and be like, I don't want to do that again. Yeah, but don't go into this. God, I'm such an awful person. Nobody loves me.
It's different than the folks that are in the mindset of like doing it
improvement stuff.
No. Doing like actually, again, bad people, evil people, they're not doing that because they think they're bad. The bad guys never think they're bad.
What is it? Isn't that from Frankenstein, right? The book Frankenstein. Maybe. By and she says
didn't think he was the bad guy.
Right.
No.
Bad people don't do things because they think it's bad.
They think they're doing it the right thing. Weirdly enough, they're just wrong.
Then it comes down to the definition of right and getting curious. Well, what did he think he was doing that was right?
I know. Weird. Again, we could talk forever. Let's put a pin in it and talk about like heal your past traumas for healthyrelationships.info.
Yeah.
So drop some socials, say your website, and we'll put a pin in it for this show.
So anywhere on socials, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, my website, it's all going to be Healthy Relationships. Little few variations, healthyrelationships.info. Instagram is healthyrelationships.coach. Facebook is Healthy Relationships Coaching. Yeah, I know it's all over the place, but just remember healthy relationships.
Okay.
And another place to find me is on Eventbrite as well with Healthy Relationships. I do monthly webinars all about these topics, about rediscovering yourself, about understanding the neurological patterns that are happening through trauma bonding, all of that if you need just a space to hear, understand, and learn a little bit as well.
This has been awesome. Let's do it again soon.
I'm down. I'm down.
Cool. Thanks, Heather.
Thank you.
Thanks for taking the time to ride along with us on another episode of Vroom Vroom Veer. For podcast info and show notes, be sure to head over to vvveer.com. That's VVER.com. Man, that's fun to say. And we'll catch up with you next time here on Vroom Vroom Veer.